Triple H has revealed his thoughts on All Elite Wrestling, but first, have the first AEW All-In matches been confirmed? Ever since his return on the debut episode of AEW Collision, Andrade El Idolo has been locked in an ongoing battle with the House of Black, with him most recently regaining his stolen mask this past Saturday night in a ladder match win over Buddy Matthews. Now that he's beaten both Buddy and Brody King inside the ring, the Idol looks to be turning his attention to the third and final male member of the house, with him taking to Twitter to call out Malachi Black for a match at Wembley Stadium, and he would say, "I want the next one. I would like to see you face to face at All in London because you are a European and it is with your people. Mexico versus Netherlands, AEW All in London." Another match that may have been set up for All In is one involving veteran Jeff Jarrett, who would appear on TalkSport, a UK radio show, as part of a media tour across the pond. At the end of the interview, Jeff would get into an altercation with popular Scottish wrestler Grado, a potential sign that he could be brought in to sell some extra tickets. After Grado stated that Jarrett reminded him of his Auntie Jackie, Jeff would grab his trademark guitar and break it over the Scotsman's head before walking out. Whilst Grado obviously isn't signed to AEW currently, there is a chance that this could lead up to his AEW debut, or it could just be a bit of fun to get the media talking. With that said, Grado is well known in the UK, especially in his native Scotland, with him featuring in many popular BBC television shows. Next up, CM Punk and the Elite are set to be in the same building on the same night. Ever since the return of CM Punk to All Elite Wrestling, he and the members of the Elite have largely been kept apart through the use of two separate shows, Dynamite and Collision, this whilst the Elite were not present on the episode of Dynamite that Punk showed up on. On top of this, both parties did appear at the Forbidden Door pay-per-view, although reports revealed that they were at the opposite sides of the arena due to their past interactions. Well, ahead of the upcoming AEW All in London show on Sunday, August 27, both Dynamite and Collision are set to be taped on the same night at the Gas South Arena in Duluth, Georgia on Wednesday, August 23, with Dynamite airing live on the night, with Collision being pre-taped ready to air the following Saturday night, one day before the pay-per-view. On the graphic for the announcement, CM Punk can be seen front and center on the Collision side, whilst Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks are present on the Dynamite side. Whilst both sides will likely be kept on the opposite sides of the arena once again, there is hope that something could be worked out for them to coexist, either backstage or potentially on screen if it hasn't happened already. And speaking of the Elite and CM Punk, where does the AEW locker room stand on the divide? During a recent interview with House of Wrestling, former AEW star Fuego del Sol would give some insight into the general feeling within the AEW locker room towards the Elite CM Punk situation, with him revealing that whilst battle lines have been drawn in the fan base, it's not so much the same within the company itself. Fuego would know that there are those that are more loyal to one side than the other, but this isn't necessarily the case with everyone, and he would say, "There's a whole thing online where you have to pick a side between CM Punk and the Elite. That's not how it is in the back. You have really close friends of the Elite that are like, hey, I'm with you guys, I'm riding with you guys. There's really close friends of Punk that are going to side with Punk. I haven't revealed this to anybody. CM Punk hurt his foot last year. I hurt my foot in February. Punk messaged me multiple times a week checking in on me. Regardless of what anyone wants to say about him, I only got off interactions that I've had with people and he checked on me constantly and I'm forever grateful for that. If I ever had any questions before a show, Punk was always there, especially during his first run." On top of the praise that Fuego had for Punk, he would share similar sentiments towards the Elite, and more specifically the Young Bucks, who reached out to him following his exit from the company, and he would say, "However, I have to turn around and say the Bucks have been phenomenal to me. From day one, they've treated me like a brother, a wrestler, one of the boys. They never treated me like an extra, they never acted like they were above me because they were EVPs. They've checked on me since I've got hurt and since I've got released. I've got messages from both Matt and Nick saying, 'We had no clue, we're so sorry. We wish the best for you.' I've had great interactions with everyone, more so the Bucks and Punk than Kenny, but Kenny does a lot of stuff with the female division. But anytime I had questions about going to Japan or about my matches, he was incredibly nice." Next up, a wrestling legend has sadly passed away. Yesterday, the wrestling world would wake up to the sad news that Welsh wrestling icon Exotic Adrian Street had passed away at the age of 82, with his death occurring on July 24. The news would be broken by the BBC, with Street's family informing them of what happened. Since the story dropped, many top wrestling names have sent their thoughts out to the family and friends of Adrian, including former WWE champion Drew McIntyre, who would take to Twitter to say, "Adrian Street was before his time, a genuine trailblazer and one of the toughest men you could wish to meet. My thoughts go to his wife Linda and the rest of his family and friends. Rest in peace." One of his most infamous moments looking back would occur during a match with then popular and now reviled television host Jimmy Savile, an encounter that saw Street drop his opponent on his head before ripping his hair out on purpose. This after hearing Savile brag about his relations with young girls. A story that will be music to the ears of those that now know the full extent of Savile's unpunished crimes. His wife and former wrestling manager Linda would release a statement to the BBC calling her husband the kindest, most loving man you could ever meet, with his death a real loss to the pro wrestling space. And next, a top WWE star has revealed when their current contract expires. Towards the end of the year 2021, there was much talk about the status of Kevin Owens, with it being revealed that his WWE deal was set to come to an end at the start of 2022. In December 2021, Kevin would then put pen to paper on a new contract with the company, ending any speculation of a potential jump elsewhere, with it being reported by Dave Meltzer at the time that he was tied down for another 3 years. Speaking with the Toronto Sun this week, Owens would discuss his future in wrestling as well as how long he has left on his current deal, with him noting that he may have less time in the ring than he believed so before, and Owens would say, "That's a great question. What's left to accomplish for Owens? I really don't know. I used to say I don't see myself not being in the ring for another 5 to 10 years, and if I said it right now, I'd be lying because over the last few months, I have to admit I don't know if that's true anymore." Kevin would once again mention the 1.5-year time frame, seemingly confirming the 3-year deal reports from a 1.5 years ago, noting that this is the minimum he has to entertain the fans, and he would say, "I think for the next 1.5 years, my focus is just on enjoying everything I do as much as possible. There's not really a worry about winning a title or main eventing WrestleMania or any of that stuff anymore, which are the dreams that everybody has because I've been so blessed and I've gotten to do all of that. So I just want to have fun and want to give people fun times to remember me by. Whether this is the end for my wrestling, I don't know, and I don't want to sound dramatic. I don't want to say this is a retirement speech or anything because I might still be wrestling for 10 years. I have no idea. My thought process right now is just to try and enjoy the next 1.5 years as much as I possibly can before I don't know what's on the other side. That's really all I'm worrying about." Next up, a WWE departure has been confirmed. Following the closure of the NXT UK brand, various names would be transferred to the US version of NXT, one of those being former main roster Cruiserweight division member Noam Dar. With that said, there was mystery surrounding Dar's real-life girlfriend Alia James, who was also a member of the NXT UK roster, with there being no word on if she was still with the company. With that said, when responding to a fan on Twitter that said they were waiting for her NXT arrival, Alia would tweet, "Do not hold your breath," and then she would add, "So now we know I'm free as a bird, who am I going to wrestle first?" With the NXT Europe brand said to be on the horizon, there's a chance that many of the NXT UK releases will be brought back in for the new project. However, we are currently without a specific time frame for its launch. Next up, a WWE Hall of Famer is facing 30 years in prison. In March 2022, Tammy Sitch, aka former WWF diva Sunny, would be arrested after crashing into the back of a static vehicle whilst intoxicated, with the incident causing the death of a 75-year-old man. Tammy would then be arrested and charged with DUI manslaughter, a case that we now have an update on via PW Insider. According to the report, Sitch is scheduled to stand trial on the week of September 18, facing a total of 9 charges, and the report notes, Tammy Sunny Sitch will stand trial this fall, having been charged 1 count of DUI causing death, DUI manslaughter, a felony in the 3rd degree, 1 count of causing death while operating a vehicle with a suspended or revoked driver's license, a felony in the 3rd degree, 4 counts of DUI causing injury to a person, and 3 counts of DUI causing damage to property following the March 2022 death of 75-year-old Julian Lasseter during a traffic incident incident in Ormond Beach, Florida. The DUI manslaughter charge is the most serious, as it is considered a felony in Florida, and if she is convicted, Sitch could face up to 30 years in prison with a 4-year minimum suspended sentence, as well as up to $10,000 in fines. Soon after her arrest, a bond of $225,500 was paid for Sitch to be released on bail. However, bail was later revoked just days later, with her set to remain in jail until her trial has concluded. And next, Triple H has revealed his thoughts on All Elite Wrestling. Yesterday, the American Nightmare Becoming Cody Rhodes documentary would officially be released on Peacock, with it covering the career of Cody Rhodes thus far. One of the most, if not most important part of Cody's journey took place in the lead up to the launch of All Elite Wrestling, a company he helped found, with the Elite transferring their groundswell of support into a product backed by billionaire wrestling fan Tony Khan. During the documentary, Rhodes would discuss his eventual departure from AEW, and whilst he would refuse to reveal the real reason for his exit, he would rule out things that have been reported as the reason and would say, "This is my one request in this entire documentary. This one answer I don't want edited in any capacity. Don't edit this part. I can't tell you why I left AEW. I can't and I won't, but I'll tell you the reasons that were said that didn't actually matter. I didn't leave AEW because of money, and I didn't leave AEW because of other talent. I left AEW because of a personal reason. That's it. The byproduct of leaving AEW was the opportunity to go for the biggest dream I ever had, and the first dream I had in my life." This portion of the production would then lead into a quote from WWE Chief Content Officer Triple H, who would explain Cody's exit and said, "To then take that gamble again and say, this is not what I wanted to be. I didn't grow up dreaming of being the champion or the face of a secondary promotion. I wanted to be the WWE champion." Interestingly, the documentary would play down the involvement from the others involved in the launch of the promotion, with them noting that Cody Rhodes led a team that launched AEW, which isn't quite how things played out, although there is no doubting his importance in the process. Either way, WWE documentaries are what they are, with the goal always to put over their promotion and their talent to the highest degree, which is understandable from a business perspective. And before you go, make sure you check out 10 facts that MJF doesn't want you to know.